Well, I think it's very clear that from the European perspective and from the mandate and the political priorities for Ursula von der Leyen, resilience has been elevated to a completely new place. That's, of course, very much due to some of the weather extremes that we've been experiencing and the distress of people that we are seeing as a result of that. I think I had a couple of slides. I don't know if I should just...
There you are.
Okay, thanks. So that's the first slide. You can skip that and go to the next slide, because I think it's quite interesting to note that maybe I can have the clicker. Okay.
There you go.
Thanks. So the science is clear, and I'm not going to hamper this point. The minister has made the points. There are many much more knowledgeable scientists in the room than myself. But the fact of the matter is that the financial costs associated to climate change have become quite tremendous. This is a data series from the European Environment Agency that covers years from 1980 to 2023. And the graph is quite obvious in showing how the costs have increased over time within EU. The total sum of aggregate costs of weather extremes is at 738 billion over that time series. And I'd like to even claim that that's an understatement. It's a dramatic number, but what's even more dramatic about that number is that 22% of that total occurred during 2021, 2022, 2023. So you're looking at a time series of over 40 years, and you have 22% of the, aggregated total occurring in a very, very short time. So we are looking at a situation where the macroeconomics of this mean that the costs of recovery are taking funds away from investing into competitiveness, investing into transition, and making the business case. It's also very clear that climate risk accelerates other risks. So it's a threat multiplier for issues that have become more and more into the political priority focus, such as defense capacity. Because if you're vulnerable to climate change, if your infrastructure is flooded, if your service networks don't work because of floods or fires or other extremes, then you have compromised supply chains, also for military servicing. So it is a threat landscape that we need to look at in a totality and in a very holistic way. Because preparedness requires a change of philosophy and mindset, and it's not just one threat scenario that we can look in isolation of others. We also know that while the science is very unpredictable, it's evident that because of the inertia of the system, things will get worse before they get better. 2024 was the first year that we surpassed 1.5 degrees globally. We hope that's a temporary overshoot, but if we exercise kind of precautionary principle, as regulators, we need to prepare for something that may be more than a slight temporary dip. And that's why with my team and with the mandate of Ursula von der Leyen, we are now preparing a European level resilience and risk management framework, which will include a law, and it will include a very clear definition of risk ownership, also what the minister was referring to, because it's clear that not the climate departments are the ones who own the risk or have the agency to act in all cases, but it is the ministries of agriculture, budget, infrastructure, and energy that also need to assume a role in driving this resilience by design, which has to become a new approach, more than a principle or lip service, but really applying a more realistic temperature reference scenario as a lens, as a criteria for evaluating the longevity and viability of different investments, because it is a matter of competitiveness and revenue retention. As if your company sites are compromised, flooded, supply chains don't work, then you don't have a business case anymore. So while we still too much focus on year-on-year profits, that kind of immediacy of climate risks is becoming more and more factored in to the day-on-day business decision-making. And personally, I think that's a positive thing. So you need to move from repair and recovery to prevention, protecting people and assets that are at risk, and preparing also competitive business models that would allow the EU to exploit the increasingly growing resilience marketplace, because it's one thing to have low carbon technologies, but all parts of the globe will be struggling with resilience. And we have some amazing engineering. We have irrigation projects in Greece that we should take example of. We have precision farming techniques that could be easily deployed at a larger scale. And that is a marketplace that we haven't really yet exploited in full. So we should move from proactive risk management and recovery to proactive risk management and really prevention, so that you don't have those damages occurring. Final point, this is the very quick curtain raiser of what our integrated framework will have. It's due on the last quarter of 2026. And of course, we will have the co-legislation process, but it will become applicable in a way of decision immediately for the Commission working and the MFF. But then later on, we hope that this is something that we can also use to inspire and empower the member states as they take their action to the next level. So we must prepare for the unpredictable. There is a strong business case for this. And I think we all have a role to play in taking resilience to the next level. It is about awareness, but solutions exist, and we should not give in to defeatism, but actually empower people to take shape and take control of their own futures.